Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
TGIF, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Sports Tonight. I'm sports producer Scott Pennyman here with the sports director, Bailey Burmaster. Bailey, how you feeling?
It's Friday. I feel good. We've had a lot of news this week and kind of, I guess you could say unexpected, but maybe not so unexpected news. But yes,
Caught
it's
me
Friday.
off guard.
Yeah, and we got a big week next week too. Before we dive into everything, let's preview what we have coming for people. Because Tuesday, mandatory minicamp for the Falcons. It's also a home game for the Dream that you can watch on Peachtree TV and Peachtree Sports Network. Then they have another huge game on Thursday. They are in Indiana to face Caitlin Clark and the Fever. So we will have a special Sports Tonight preview before that game tips off at 7, of course.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're right. That's packed. I mean, especially with the way the WNBA has been exploding. I mean, that's huge that we have those dream games. You know, that's crazy. So it's been a tough, I guess from one team that's kind of getting their season started. Atlanta United, it ain't too many different ways to say it. They've been on a struggle bus, right?
Where do you begin? I mean, they've lost so many games. They haven't been able to find consistency. They paid the price with parting ways with Gonzalo Pineda. And then after that, you kind of had an idea because there were rumors. But last night there were verified reports that the deal was pretty much done with forward Yorgos Giakoumakis to send him to Cruz Azul. They got him for $4 million from Celtic. And so they're reportedly from The Athletic and New York Times and a couple other outlets that this deal is going to be worth $10 million.
Woo!
So the Atlanta United is basically going to get the $4 million they got back on top of an additional $6 million.
That's a come up.
It's hard to say no to that.
Yeah.
Where I get really concerned is who's producing on offense for them now outside of Thiago Almada.
Well, I guess nobody was really producing for him anyway, right?
I guess not. And then you get the news
position.
today. They went out and got this big defender. Stian Gregerson, who's dealt with a lot of injuries. I think he had something with his knee and then a concussion, and now he's out for another 2 to 3 weeks with a quad injury. So just not ideal for the organization right now.
Whatever can go wrong seems like it has gone wrong. I mean, and they went a long time without a win. I mean, it's been kind of
I think it's 5 straight right now, too. 5 straight losses.
It's tough. I thought it kind of caught me up. I guess you figure it did, but not really kind of catch me off guard when Gonzalo got let go,
It's hard because I know you spent time out there. I spent
time.
Gonzalo was great.
He was.
He was very personable, very accessible, went out of his way to say hello to everyone. I honestly think he's a great coach.
He is.
I'm just very curious, and I think it's the question everyone's been raising as to why this team has struggled to find consistency on the field. I remember we talked to Gigi last year at the end of the year, right before their final playoff game, and he basically said, there's a lot of new faces. We're still meshing. We're still building chemistry, but, we need to take the next step, and we should do that next year. And that was kind of the anticipation of the season. Everyone was excited to see what they could do.
I remember that.
Could they really get going and return to this caliber of Atlanta United everyone was used to years prior? And it's just fallen so flat, and it's kind of caught everyone a little bit off guard.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess when you look up and you see the interim coach, Rob Valentino, there, I guess that lets you know that everything's gone kind of crazy, right? I mean, I'm sure he didn't expect to be in this situation.
Well, and the thing is,
right
too,
now.
he has been in this now. He has been interim manager before,
Yeah.
So he's stepping into a familiar role, but he even said today when he spoke to media that, hey, it's a weird situation because I am close with Gonzalo and there's a personal element to all of this, but as always in the industry, the show goes on.
Yeah, you got to move on, and they got some time to prepare for the next one, right? So, I mean, gives them a little bit of time to get things in order. I guess that's the best time to let go of a coach, right? I mean, when you have a little bit of time until you play again and everyone can kind of just breathe a little bit and get ready and, just sort of have an opportunity to make things better from this point out. So, new coach, Rob Valentino.
Yes.
Rob Valentino, he was speaking today about this new opportunity. And look, what I hear from him, he seems pretty hopeful that they can get this thing back on the right track. So we'll see if they can get it headed in that direction. But enough of me. Let's hear from interim head coach Rob Valentino.
I mean, right now, my immediate focus is on the Houston game. I'm not thinking too far ahead. You mentioned all those games. Right now, it's just evaluating the group. They've had some time off now. We had 9 games in 30 days or whatever that time period ended up being. So now let them get out, get refreshed and re-energized, and now come back and we'll kind of try to evaluate from there and when we get back to training and kind of see where the guys are at, and then we can go from there and see what we can really accomplish in the time period. I don't want to say we're going to fix all these things or there's all these things to fix. We really want to be dialed in on being specific and getting to that and thinking what we can control and what we can change.
Thanks, Doug. Next question, we'll go ahead to Felipe. Felipe, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Rob. Have you in this evaluation process that I imagine is going to be ongoing up until the Houston game, have you been able to put your finger on just why the players aren't performing up to expectation? You're with them all the time. You know them better than almost anyone in the building. What has been the issue? Like, why aren't they reaching their potential?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question. It's a good question. It's been an ongoing process for all of us as we've been here and looking at what we can do better. I don't think there's a pinpoint to one thing. I think it's important that everybody is healthy. That obviously gives us a better chance of having a really full strength squad. And I think in terms of the way I want to see the team evolve in some ways is that can we add a little bit more directness to us? That doesn't mean just knocking balls along, but how we can pull teams out to them playing behind them. I think that we feel like we've got a really strong squad, and we want to try to utilize all those players to the best of their abilities by setting them up to succeed. So wherever those positions might be in the players in those spots, but putting them out there and letting them feel comfortable in where they're at and really letting them go.
Next question, we'll go to Joe Patrick. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, Rob, just where is this team? How would you describe where they are mentally right now? Because it seems like they've been really just frustrated the last few weeks, talking to them after games, like they were, fully supportive of the coaching staff that was in place, which may be a little bit different than what happened last time you were put in charge as caretaker manager. And so just where is that part? Do you also see that as part of kind of what you need to work on with these guys, is just kind of keeping them, at a certain level in terms of their mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that now going away for some time and having some time to reflect, having some time to whether it be with family or get away from the game in some ways, that it allows them to be refreshed. Something that I think that they need to come back to the enjoyment of the game and not because of anything that was happening before, but when results don't go your way and you've played so many games in so many days that you're down, maybe of not full confidence. But I think that's the big piece, is really seeing where they're at as they come out of this break and bringing the enjoyment back to every day and getting some results in the short term.
Next question, Sydney Hunt. Sydney, go ahead.
Hey, Rob. Happy Friday. Thanks for doing this. You kind of touched on it in your previous answers to the previous questions, but I guess what's your overall message? I mean, you've done this before, but with this little bit of different group of players, what's your overall message to them for these next few games leading into Houston?
Yeah, I mean, the next thing I'm going to really try to touch on is about getting back to the enjoyment, like I just talked about, how we can find that in every day, on the field, off the field, and finding the little bits of joy that we do in doing our jobs and shared success. Like this is, I think that if you look at teams and organizations and things like that, it's not one person's fault. It's shared in terms of where we are at in that sense. So there's that responsibility, that accountability. Also in the other side of it, like I want there to be shared success. It's not on one coach or one player or one front office staff member. I think that we really want to enjoy the day to day, enjoy the shared success, and I think that's what's going to be the message moving forward from myself over the next couple of days.
Next question, Sam Jones. Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Rob. Wanted to ask if your view of the game has changed since the last time you were in charge. Has there been anything that's been altered about your game model or the way you see teams being successful in MLS after being with Gonzalo the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think I would say I'm always evolving the way I see things. Like working with I've had the pleasure to work with multiple coaches, and I've learned something from all of them, and that's been really good. I think from the last time that when we were together and this kind of thing happened, um, I've definitely gotten more into the thoughts of how we can attack in different ways. Also I think about transition moments a lot, especially with this league. You look at where teams spend money and where teams have really dangerous attackers. They've got speed, and those transitional moments become really big. Also, just being in Atlanta for the time period I've been here and listening to the crowd, and I feel like the transitional moments become really big, and it's piqued my interest in how we can create more of those moments in our favor. So that would be something that it's constantly evolving. I like to see different strategies of way different teams play. I'm definitely not married to one way. I think it's about getting the best out of the squad that you have wherever you end up being and the players you have. So, yeah, to answer your question, that's kind of where I see myself at the moment.
All right, Bailey, let's talk some NBA Finals last night. I don't know how much of the game you caught last night, game 1 of the NBA Finals. And going into the season, I started the season by saying I felt like the Boston Celtics were going to win the NBA championship. I know Denver won it last year, and Denver looked like a really complete team, but I just felt from top to bottom, Boston Celtics, it just felt like it was their time. They had been close a couple years ago. I thought in getting Kristaps Porzingis, that was what was going to put this team over the top. That was my feeling coming into the season. Nothing I saw the entire season changed how I felt. After game 1 of the NBA Finals, I feel pretty good about my prediction. I feel pretty solid about it, especially the part about Kristaps Porzingis, because he returned from injury last night. He got hurt earlier in the playoffs. Porzingis returned last night and showed all the skills, all the ability that people thought he had when he first came into the league, and showed all of the skills that confirmed to me why I thought Boston would win an NBA championship this year. And nothing I saw last night disappointed me. I mean, he was better in his return than I could have ever imagined. I mean, this guy hadn't played in a while, and he comes back out there like Willis Reed in the for the Knicks back in the day, and not just shows a presence on the court. I mean, he was their best player last night, probably.
Yeah.
And it was that was the most surprising part to me. Not that Boston won the game, because, like I said, I expect Boston to win this series too. My pick was Boston in 7. But watching how Porzingis, the presence he had on the offensive end and the defensive end, with how he affected shots by Kyrie Irving. Kyrie had a really rough night last night. How he affected both ends of the floor. I said Celtics in 7. This might be Celtics in 5.
Yeah, okay. Kyrie had a bad night. You know Luka's going to respond. Luka's always due for give him 1 or 2 massive, stupidly massive games. I think that's on the horizon. But I do feel you. I do think I totally agree in the sense that it's the Celtics' time coming. It's been coming. I thought I was sad when they moved on from Marcus Smart, but when I saw them get Drew Holiday from the Bucks,
He's so good.
Drew is just, he's that player I think everyone wants to play with, just for a defensive sound guy that is going to bring that energy, but also just a really good team guy.
He is all around sound basketball player.
So I feel like when the Celtics got, added all these pieces, it was in the right direction of, okay, let's go get this. So I'm with you. I do think the Celtics win this series, but I mean, I'm not going to totally count out Dallas. And what a time for Dallas sports. Mavs, Stars.
Yeah,
making it deep in the playoffs for hockey.
They got it going on in Dallas right now. Now, for Cowboys to get things in order, maybe they really have things going in order.
All right, baby steps, Scott.
That's a whole
baby
steps.
That's
a whole other story. But no, I think when you look at the top of their rosters, I think Luka and Kyrie are as good of a 1-2 punch as there is in the entire league. Even rivals Tatum and Brown might even be a little bit better. But when you look at the complete roster, when you look after those two guys, Boston is just so solid. Like you said, Drew Holiday, point guard. I mean, he brought an element to them, not just on the defensive end and some on the offensive end, but he's a winner. He won an NBA championship with the Bucks a few years back. He knows what it takes to win a championship. He's that veteran leader that you need on championship
Keep in mind, he's the guy that the Bucks went to go get to win that championship.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you got to believe Boston did the same.
Exactly. That's the same thing Boston did. You have veteran guys, like I said, like Al Horford, and just really solid veteran players. I mean, so when you look, Derek White is an elite level role player for them. So when you just look piece by piece up and down that entire roster, Boston just has more. And like I say, I think Dallas is going to come back. They're going to make a fight of this. You're never going to count out Kyrie Irving, right? I mean, we've seen him perform at an elite level on this stage in the 2016 finals. So we know Kyrie Irving probably has some really good performances left in him. But I just think Boston's going to be too much. Like I said, Tatum and Brown, that's a good of a 1-2 punch as there is. But just behind those guys, I mean, it's just elite level offense and defense up and down. So I just think Boston's going to be too much. Maybe I exaggerate a little bit when I said I think it's going to be Boston in 5, but it wouldn't surprise me, especially I think game 2, Dallas will counter some things and they'll look a little better. And so that's going to be a big one Sunday night for Dallas, because if they lose that one, it's going to be looking real serious. It's going to be looking real serious.
I'm with you.
So, big weekend. Big weekend coming up for UGA baseball.
So UGA baseball has made it to the Supers for the first time since 2008. And Scott, I didn't know if you knew this, but this is actually really interesting. The last 4 times that the Georgia has played in the Supers, they have gone on to the College World Series.
Okay.
The last time they did this, they actually beat NC State in the Supers. And that was the year they made it to the College World Series finals.
Here we go again.
So, history favors the Dogs a little bit. Obviously, they have Charlie Condon, who has been lights out.
Future Cleveland Guardian.
Yes, Cleveland's already reached out. They want all our Charlie Condon.
Future Guardian.
All our Charlie Condon content. So, but they spoke today. It's the best of 3 series. They get things started tomorrow early afternoon. 2 wins away from the College World Series, maybe 3 if it gets to that, but no, it won't get to that. You get what I'm saying. It was like a 3-game series. Yeah,
sure.
two.
Sure.
They need 2, and they're headed to the College World Series.
They'll get them.
You think so?
They will. I mean, just when you look at,
I'd be surprised if they didn't. That's where I'm at this point.
They just seem like a team of destiny. I mean, just kind of when you look at their power. I've been watching them all season. They can. That long ball, they got some guys that can rake in that lineup. I mean, it's not just Condon. I mean, guys.
Well, and let's not forget about their pitching. Their pitching has been pretty stellar too throughout the regionals and whatnot. So
that too, and I love the manager too. I've been out there talked to Manager Johnson a couple of times. He gets it. Just when you're around baseball guys and you're around guys like that, great motivators, you can tell just by. You can tell why he's been so successful, just because he seems like he gets it.
Yeah, Wes is a solid guy.
Wes is solid, and he's been to major leagues and everything like that. So he understands high level baseball. And look, I like them to take care of business this weekend.
So they spoke. Let's hear from Coach and Charlie Condon and a few of the other players heading into this weekend.
Let's go.
Well, I've said this before, great players, whether I was around them, when I was with the Twins or the guys I've been around in college, they it's more mental. The physical stuff, some of it, they're just blessed with, but then they do continue to develop their talent. But it's mental that where the 2 guys are similar, the great ones I've been around, they just have a different mind. They want to challenge themselves daily. And when they do that, if they don't get the result they always want, they understand that, they're going to get better because of the challenge, how hard it was.
What about this time of year? You've been in a lot of postseasons. What's the feeling? What's the vibe as you get ready for a weekend like this?
Yeah, I mean, guys, we've had a good, we were fortunate enough to wrap ours up and not have to play Monday, and we've had a good week. We've had some really good practices. We hadn't made them too long. They've just been short, crisp, fast. I've tried to put a lot of tempo to them and get them in, get them out. But, yeah, I mean, we've had a good week. You hope and you want that to carry over to this weekend.
Wes, you said at the beginning of the year this team could be as good as it wanted to be. Kind of along those lines, just what have you seen the teams continue to develop week by week right now?
Guys, our league, meaning the SEC, I mean, it starts there, right? I mean, everybody in that league's talented. You go through there's not one team who doesn't have talent, and so everybody's got good players. And I just talked to our team about that a lot, and just talked about, you look at any team in professional baseball. I was fortunate enough to be on 2 teams who won divisional titles, and our coach 2 teams that won divisional titles. And those teams, their belief and their confidence is at a level that is, really, really high. and then it gives you a chance to go out and carry that over to winning. And that's what I meant by that. Yes, we developed some guys this year. There's no doubt about that. And we can look at that objectively. But they had to learn how to believe in themselves. They had to learn how, once they did that, to take the confidence to the field and then look at their teammates and know that about each other. And that's what I meant by that.
Coach, overall, how do you guys measure these days?
Yeah, I think we're pretty evenly matched. I mean, you look at it, they've got some really good bats. They've been playing exceptionally well. Probably the last, gosh, you go back probably 4 or 5 weeks now. I'd have to count them up. Days are running together, but last 4 or 5 weeks for sure. They're playing really well. They're pitching similar to ours. Their offense is similar. Their defense, so you look at this one. We're evenly matched, in my opinion.
Will Leighton start tomorrow? And what did the doctor say about Charlie? Is he done for the year?
Charlie won't be with us this weekend. We'll get the final probably. All right, Charlie will be here, but I'll just go ahead and tell you he's not on the active roster. Game 1 for us. I'm waiting on a few things, and I'll get that out a little later today.
How is Colton Smith?
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Colton's fine. He's pitching.
You talk belief and confidence on your process. I'm curious, just having more people around. You talk about the hill filling up a little bit there. Does that further boost that confidence at all, or do you think it's just kind of keeled as it?
I think the biggest thing players have to realize when you're at home and your home crowd is here, as I tell them all the time, those people are here rooting for you to do good, not to do bad. And so once we understand that with confidence and belief, it should take us to another level.
Along those lines, a lot of extra eyes on y'all this weekend getting the stage. If somebody hasn't watched your team this season and they're watching you for the first time this weekend, what do you want them coming away thinking about the Georgia Bulldogs?
We just love playing baseball. We enjoy it. We have a lot of fun. Hopefully they see that, we never really panic, no matter what's going on, good or bad. We just keep playing the game, and we have fun doing it.
Coach, where did the German Shepherd mask come from? What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, we could have a whole segment on that. The guys just wanted a prop in the dugout, right? And I said, hey, when did we become the German Shepherds? I thought we were the Bulldogs. So no, there's been a lot of fun with that. But they said they couldn't find a Bulldog mask on Amazon or wherever they went, and so it's just the guys have fun with it. Going back to last, I want our guys to have fun. We have enough serious things in life we have to deal with on a daily basis. So, that's the dog mask. It's the profit. The guys came up with it. I let them come up with it. I just laughed when I saw the German Shepherd mask.
Does it help them keep them loose on a weekend like this where you can get tight?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's what that stuff's designed for. That's what hopefully it'll do this weekend.
Coach, what do you think about North Carolina State pitching? They got some experience. They're a guy who pitched in the World Series this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, this time of year it's about experience. They got 2 really good freshman arms I really, really like. Their 2 best bullpen arms are, at least on our end of evaluating things. I mean, they know their players better, obviously, their heartbeat and so forth. So you just look at raw stuff, though. They got 2 really good freshmen. They got a mix of older guys. Yeah, they're you're not going to rattle them. This crowd's not going to rattle them. Or I wouldn't think that, meaning the starters, especially their older guys. They're a good program. They play in a good league, and it should be a lot of fun.
But getting back to the heartbeat part, you talked about that all year long. How is it your team heartbeat kept getting improved?
Yeah. The biggest example I guess I can give you is Leighton Finley. I thought he was a little out of him. He was a little, not to use that term, sped up, but he was moving a little quick. Opening night of regionals on Friday night, and I sat down and talked to him a long time about it. Like, we're going to need you in the future. You're going to pitch in these kind of games, hopefully more in your career. And the next time you get out there, and I told him to be ready for the weekend. Last weekend, I needed 3 outs out of him. I said, when you get back out there, we're going to go through some different things to make sure. And I thought, come on, man, bases loaded, no outs. And I thought his heartbeat was great on Sunday night.
Wes, is there a little juggling between you and your staff with these big games, but also trying to build your roster for next year in the portal?
Yeah, it's just the world we live in now, right? I mean, you can't sit back and wait. We've had a couple commitments already and had guys on campus this week. So it's just, it's that time of year. It's a good thing. This isn't, you want this, not sleeping right now. That means things are going the way they should be.
Talking about the portal, you built this team to play here and win here. Just how big of an opportunity and advantage is it to play this series here?
Well, I mean, yeah, I haven't the stat just slipped me on home teams in this series, but or in super regionals. But yeah, I mean, you want to play at home. Our guys are comfortable. They're going to sleep in their bed tonight. Everything, right? They're going to drive their car here the same way they've done it for, 9.5 months, and get here and then get to the field and go in that same locker room. And yeah, I mean, it's huge.
Bailey, this topic is just for you. I know how much you're excited about the hustle.
Yeah. The Atlanta Hustle have a game tonight. Peachtree Sports Network, 8 o'clock. Austin, tune in if that's your thing. We're going to do a better job of updating you with all these partnerships of what games we have coming your way so you can tune in. But we can end with how we always end, Scotty.
So I have a question. So yesterday was me and Ellie Parker were doing this show, and we talked about Dan Hurley being the number one candidate for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay.
And I was very adamant about how I thought that was a very, very bad idea.
Okay.
Just wondering what your take might be.
What did Ellie say? Ellie, were you for it? No? Both of you were against it?
We were both against it.
I think the question, it's not about what you think or what Ellie thinks, and it's not even
that's
about
true.
what I think. I think it's what does LeBron James think?
And that's crazy.
Because the king is going to get what the king wants.
See, and that's the part I don't understand, right? So I would have understood this if LeBron was like in year 8 or 9 in the NBA and everything like that. But we don't even know how much longer he's going to play. He might only play one more year. So I just think it's crazy to make a hire. I get it. He's LeBron James, and, you're still – but he's LeBron James in name. He's LeBron James as in – people still want to pay to come see him play, but he's not the impactful LeBron James anymore to where if he's on your team, you're going to the finals. If he's on your team, you're an NBA championship contender. So I guess I just wonder at this point, how does someone have that kind of pull, especially within an organization like the Lakers, which is that brand is bigger than any one individual. I just wonder why they would, have their head coach search kind of hinged on LeBron James, which makes me wonder with the thought of Dan Hurley, maybe it's not on LeBron at this point, because surely he wouldn't want a college coach, right? A guy right from the college ranks. So I wonder, is this more of the Lakers going, look, we have to worry about life after LeBron James. So we need to get a coach that's going to be here for a while and can build with us long term.
Here's what I'll say about that, and I think we've talked about this a little bit on this show. When you hand someone the keys to the castle, it is nearly impossible to take them back. And that is what you've seen. I think I referenced before Aaron Rodgers and the Packers when they gave him that biggest contract extension and he could have any say he wanted, and then he wasn't getting enough say. That caused turmoil and eventually was why he went to the Jets. This is the same thing with LeBron. He's such a superstar in his own right. He feels like he may know better sometimes. He might feel like he's entitled. And I don't mean that in a negative connotation. I just mean that with how much he's achieved. Yeah. It's hard to tell him no. So you give him a little bit of leeway, but things don't work out. And now you're in the NBA where everyone's on the chopping block every year. You're kind of running out of head coaching options. It's a mess. I still think LeBron has a say in this. I don't think he would be against a college coach if he believed he had the right philosophies and mindset and would be conducive to how the team needs to be coached and how much input LeBron would have. And you know what? I don't even know if it's the right or wrong answer, to be frank. I think I'm not interviewing Dan Hurley. I'm not in those conversations. But at this point, what's the worst that's going to happen? They hire Dan Hurley and they fire him in a year? Is that really so barbaric to hear in today's NBA world?
It just seems like a lot of these teams, I know my Cleveland Cavaliers are also looking for a head coach. It just seems like some of these teams are like...
Which I thought, okay, I understand why, I'm going to try and get this short. No. I understand why they fired JB, but I also don't. I think the manageable expectations is if you improve every year, which they have, how can you fire someone?
I agree. I'm with you. I thought it was crazy.
Good luck finding something better.
Yeah, but it just seems like NBA head coach is like the most replaceable position in pro sports.
Scott, do you want to coach the NBA? You can probably get a job.
I'll be fired. I'll be fired by this time next year, but but they'll give me money to go away, so it's all good. Right. Hey, so that's it for Sports Tonight here on this Friday. We head into the weekend. UGA once again, good luck as they head into their super regional and they try to advance. So watch out for that. We'll see you back here next week for more Sports Tonight. Watch the hustle next.